Dude, do I care? No, I don't care about the Earthworm. Whatever, man. I could talk about that. When you used to buy a game, you used to play it because you actually enjoyed it. And that made, the game enjoyable, but also it didn't overstay its welcome. And here's the thing, is that nowadays, companies figured out that the best way to make money is not to just buy or not have their consumers buy a video game and just, play it until they finish it and then that's it. They realized the best way to make money is to sell people the game and then continue selling them stuff, and also to get them to keep playing more, even though realistically what they're getting is not anything insane. And this is usually just called FOMO, because when you're afraid of missing out on something, you have a fear of missing out on something, it incentivizes you to maybe do things that you wouldn't normally do. For example, let's say that you are a big Halo fan and randomly they drop this new event, okay, in the game, and you gotta play a bunch of multiplayer matches in order to get it, in order to get like a new skin, or maybe not even a skin, maybe like a new gun or something. And you don't even know how good the gun is. The gun might be terrible. The gun might be good. But they are trying to incentivize you to put more time in the game than you normally would. And the sad reality is that it just works because, well, this is kind of the reality that we live in. That's just how it goes. So this is pretty applicable to me. I would say a little bit with zombies, because there were times I played more zombies than I should have, because I was like, well, fuck, dude, I gotta get this Archie event done, and that was dumb, because I'm gonna miss out on this weapon blueprint or this weapon attachment that I'm never gonna use. But what if, or a calling card, God forbid? Imagine if I lost out on this exclusive calling card. So, that is kind of where we're at with zombies, right? Or at least where I was at. But then I really just fell off the game and stopped caring. And part of that is because then, I had a lot of other things in my life that were pulling me away from gaming in general. But the one game I was still going with was Pokemon Go. And Pokemon Go has a lot of FOMO, because, for example, right, you miss out on that Go Fest weekend, that big Go Fest weekend, you're cooked, okay? You missed out on that Zacian and Zamazenta, that is like God's greatest Pokemon ever fucking created. Like, you missed out on so much. But the thing is, right, is that they came back again, like the crown forms came back, and everything kind of comes back. Yeah, maybe you missed Rayquaza during GoFest 2023. You might have missed the Mega Rayquaza. Mega Rayquaza, one of the strongest Pokemon ever created ever, and you missed it. But then it just came back again, like a year later or something like that. So realistically, you're not missing out on that much. And furthermore, does it really matter for you to miss a Pokemon that is, oh hey, it's a deer. There's two deer. Does it really matter for you to miss a Pokemon that, is, sure, it's good, but like, it's not really a make or break thing in most scenarios. And the thing is, like, at least you can justify it with something like Mega Rayquaza, because it's so good, it beats pretty much everything else. But when it comes to other things, that's when it kind of gets underwhelming, because yes, they have their heavy hitters, right? Like this year at GoFest, we're having Mega Mewtwo. We had the crown forms of Zacian and Zamazenta last year, and then also Eternatus as well for the Max finale. We had a lot of stuff like that, right? But the thing is that those are like major power creeps because they know they want people to really focus on this event. But now imagine it's the middle of, April or May or something. And yeah, you want your players to come back, but you're not going to throw some crazy new Pokemon, like let's say, hypothetical, they just release Ultra Necrozma, and it's super, super, super broken, and it's going to be like the new best psychic attacker by like a mile. Thing is, they're not going to do that because they're not going to drop it at some random point instead of dropping it at this huge event. So they're obviously saving their heavy hitters for those big events. But what do they do now? Because they still need to have the FOMO now, but they need to do it in a way where they're not just gonna, milk everything that is super good immediately. And that's where a Pokemon like Orthworm comes in. Because recently they released Orthworm into Pokemon Go. And one of the things they've been doing a lot with some of these Pokemon recently, like Bombardier was an example, they took these Gen 9 Pokemon, it's like, oh man, we put these new Pokemon in the game, new Gen 9 Pokemon in the game, go play, or go get it. But then they put it in raids, so it incentivizes you to actually go out and catch it, and you can't just catch it, but catch a bunch of them in the wild and then call it a day. Every now and then they do that, but very, very rarely. Most of the time, when they release something, it's either locked behind eggs, which is gambling with, a lot of extra steps. And by extra steps, I mean walking a lot, literally extra steps. But then they put them in raids, and raids, they cost money to do. And sometimes, for certain things, for stronger raids, you need more people. But for like stuff like Bombardier or whatever, you can solo it. Not really any issue. But the thing is that these Pokemon, sometimes they're useful. Like, I think Bombardier is like kind of useful in PvP. But like Orthworm, I don't even know if it's useful or not. And so it's really just kind of like a dex entry. And there's been a bunch of times where I've been like, oh man, I gotta try to get one of these. And like, I've had a couple instances even kind of recently where like I have a day off and I'm like, let me try to find one of these. I'm like looking on Campfire, like where are there any nearby raids where I can raid one of these things? And slowly but surely, my love for the game has kind of been diminishing. Even today was Shadow Entei raid day, and I almost didn't even go out. And then I was like, I'll go out for like 20 minutes before work. So I went out for 20 minutes. I got my my 3 Shadow Enteis. It started off okay, and then it got really bad. Like they're pretty fucking bad. But the point of all of that, right, is that I almost didn't even bother to come out today for this event, but I did. And thing is that this is like the one time I've really been coming out because I just don't really enjoy the game that much anymore. But there's still kind of been this pull to like get new things. Like for example, getting what's it called? I'm blanking, but they release like a new Pokemon or something, and I'm like, oh man, I guess I gotta catch it. I guess I gotta keep it because even though yes, it's useless, it's like I need it for the Pokedex, and what if somebody else needs it? But going back to the Orthworm thing, they released Orthworm for this event, and I was just kind of like, do I care? And there were a couple instances where I had these moments where it's like, I could go and do a raid right now. Like, for example, I was at the mall recently, and I was like, okay, you know what? Let me eat, and then I could go over this Orthworm raid. And then I thought about it, and I was like, do I really care this much to do an Orthworm raid? And potentially miss my appointment because, I'm having to walk the other side of the mall, then walk all the way back to get to my car so I can go. And I said no, I'm not doing that. So then, I think it was yesterday, or it was either Thursday or yesterday, I can't remember. I had to go to work eventually, and I kind of got off to a little bit of a late start with my day. But I did see that there was an Orthworm raid happening at the park kind of soon, and I was like, I could do that. But then I said to myself, do I care? And I said no. And then, just before I was leaving work, I was on my break, before, I went to punch out. And I'm looking, and I see that there's a gym in the distance that's got an earthworm on it. I'm like, this is realistically like my best opportunity for an earthworm. I got nothing to do after this. I'm just going home, and maybe recording something on the way home. But I'm just going home. That's all I'm doing. So, I could stop and just get it. And I thought about it, and I was like, no, I don't think it's worth it. I don't want to do it. And so I did not do that earthworm raid, and instead I left work, started recording this, and I came here. And now I am here talking about how I did not do the earthworm raid, which I know is like, why? But the reason why is because I feel like for the longest time that FOMO was really, really getting me, I was always thinking, oh shit, I gotta get this new Pokemon, dude. I'm gonna be screwed if I don't get this new Pokemon. I need to have it. Oh my god, this deer's coming real close to the car. I don't want to get a picture. Let me try. Yeah, it didn't work that well because it's walking away. Oh, here comes the other deer. Hold on. Hold the phone. Let's get a picture of this deer. Oh, look at that. My camera, my Samsung S25 camera knows it's a deer. It was putting a square around it. So anyways, off the deer topic. Is that another deer? Or is that the deer that was there before? I don't know. Go, little deer, go. But I think that I am finally losing that FOMO now. Oh my god, there's another deer. I think I'm finally no longer fearing potentially missing out. Oh, that's a baby deer. I think. Looks kind of like a baby. And it feels kind of good. I know it's one of those things where, like, when you're really into a game, you're like, how could you miss this? Like, you're telling me that you're not going to go out and get an earthworm? It's just a raid. You're not going to go get an earthworm so you can have it for the decks? But it's just like, I don't care. I have so many other things in my life that I feel like I would rather do than fucking sitting there doing an earthworm raid. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't want it. I'm just not going to get it. So that's how it's going to go. I feel like this is kind of really the moment where my FOMO has just completely broken, because if, I don't care about this Pokemon, right? When they release another new Pokemon and it's only in raids or whatever, I'm going to be like, do I care? And even with Mega Mewtwo, for instance, right? The way they did it is so cash grabby that, dude, I don't really feel that excited about Mewtwo now. And it's like, dude, if they had, like, dropped that shit in, like, GoFest 2023, it would have been like, oh my god, what? We're getting Mega Mewtwo? Whoa! And you know that they would have done a way better mechanic, because they literally screwed over all Mega forms because they were like, how can we milk money for Mega Mewtwo? And there was one guy on, like, Reddit, because the other thing they did too is they make GoFest free, which sounds like amazing. It's like, oh my, what? Like, normally you had to pay like $8 or something, or like $15 or something for this event, and now you just get it for free. That's awesome. But the thing is, when they do that, they're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They're not going, well, we could charge you $15, but we're not going to. We're just gonna give it to you for free. They're not doing that because they're super kind and generous. They're doing it because they know they can suck more people in based on the idea of, oh my god, it's free. But then there's a lot of aspects that are probably going to be paid. I would expect there's probably going to be 1 or 2 battle passes, and they're going to be very expensive. And there's probably one that's going to have a golden bottle cap, so everybody's going to be like, oh my god, I got to buy a golden bottle cap. I bought the first one. And partially because I was like, I just caught this Galarian Moltres. Kind of means a lot to me. I want to make it a Shundo. But, like, I'm not going to do it again. I don't really care. And additionally, I I just don't want to spend that money because I think that money could be spent in so many better ways. But when people are seeing free, they're more inclined to like look at it. But then you're gonna get probably ripped off, and especially in terms of Pokemon Go, right? Because a couple years ago they started making the tour events free, and it's like, oh my god, I don't have to pay any money, I don't have to get this ticket and anything. But then the thing is, they made them so much worse. Like, I played Johto Tour, and people were bitching about that event because they were like, oh my god, there's too much to do, it's too stressful. Oh my god, like, I hate all this stuff. And now people are looking back and they're like, oh my god, that was like one of the best events ever. And I think definitely up there as one of my favorites. Even though I didn't get to go actually walk around and play the game and stuff, I enjoyed it. But then they made Hoenn Tour the next year free. And it was such a massive downgrade because, for example, you wanted a shiny Corsola, you could go, raid for it or whatever, right? Or maybe it was even in research, I can't remember, but I know it was in raids. Now, they just put all those regional Pokemon you can't normally get, they just put them in eggs. And it's like, alright, well, go hatch some eggs. And eggs are so much worse than raids. And also the thing is, too, they did it with Sinnoh, and that pissed me off because then my Chatot was in eggs, and I was trying so hard to hatch so many eggs, and it didn't work out. But then I did eventually get my shiny Chatot. It was just way later. But anyways, point is, they took the tour events, the regional tour events for Johto and Kanto. And these were events that were super premium. There was so much cool stuff to do. They added so much to the game. They were some of the best events ever. And then they made it free, and then it just became so much more underwhelming. And it just became significantly more about raiding. Because, for example, they did the Sinnoh Tour. They released the origin form of Dialga and Palkia, and they were like really good Pokemon. They had these cool venture effects and everything. It's a big new thing, so it's like, oh my god. So a lot of people were just focused on raiding and all that. And, raiding costs money. And they were not giving you many free raid passes. They are giving 9 free raid passes for this Go Fest. And there was a guy on Reddit who's like, you get 20 free Mewtwo's, how could you complain? And it's like, because number one, those Mewtwo's are probably going to be underwhelming, and also the way they did the energy is bullshit, because you have to get enough energy for both, like, each form. So you have to get enough for the Y form and the X form, and then it's just stupid. And I can't just understand why they did it other than just money. And that there's going to be a ton of people who are just going to raid like insane. And I'm probably going to do decent amount of raids. The thing is, I don't care. I just don't care. Every new thing they've released recently, I just haven't even bothered with. And if they had released Mega Mew 2 years ago, okay. But like now I'm just kind of like underwhelmed, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to be good, but like I don't really care that much anymore. And especially because I believe it's like the Mega or the Mewtwo's that you have, they're gonna, like, you have now. So it's like I have a Mewtwo and it's like almost perfect. And I'm pretty sure that if I wanted to Mega Evolve that one, it's gonna cost more than it would if I got one of these new, if I got one from a raid now, or from, when it releases. And that just kind of sucks, because it's like I had this Mewtwo, was waiting for the Mega Mewtwo to come out, and now it's like, well, you want to use that one, then good luck. And I'm just so underwhelmed by it, man. I'm so underwhelmed, and I'm so tired of just the money grubbiness of it all. And also just trying to milk as much time as you can out of people, because I feel that if you really want to make a good quality product, it should not be trying to milk more time than what people realistically want to spend. And that's why, I like a lot of Nintendo games, right? Because I look at, like, the stuff that Sony is doing. I look at the stuff, Xbox. Do we even have to talk about Xbox? Like, I think after the Xbox 360, I think Microsoft just killed Xbox or something, because I don't think there's anything after that. I think it just stopped. They made the Xbox 360, and they made nothing after that. But like with Nintendo, they make a lot of games, and you can say what you will about Nintendo. There are a lot of bad things about Nintendo, right? Sometimes they're not the most consumer-friendly company. Sometimes they don't do things that other companies would. But I can't help but feel that they do this right. They absolutely do this right. Because they make a game, and they don't make the game to waste your time or take all your time from you. They make the game for you to enjoy, and then you can put it down, right? I think like a great example of this is like Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey, you could just, blast through the game in 20 minutes. It's no big deal. Or you can play Mario Odyssey for a long time. And I think that honestly, that is probably something that they should, continue doing, I would hope. So I can't help but feel that when Pokemon Go does this sort of thing, I just feel very frustrated. Because if you want me to pour more time into the game, then make a game that's worth caring about. Because that's what happened with Pokemon Go. Or that's what happened with Mario Odyssey. I didn't, spend all this time on Mario Odyssey because I was like, well, I have to get this new outfit for Mario. I spent the time playing Mario Odyssey because I enjoyed the game. And I played through the game twice, like to completion. Like I'm talking getting all the moons, getting, whatever, right? I have like fully completed the game twice. And it was a blast both times. And there was no incentive for me to play through the whole game again or anything like that. I just did it because I wanted to, because I enjoyed it. And that, I think, is something that is kind of lost now. Because now it just feels like games are just being designed to waste people's time and suck as much time as they can. It's no longer, okay, how can we make a game that people want to invest time into? It's how can we make a game that takes people's time away? And that's just kind of sad. So I would really like that mentality to change, but I don't see it happening because the sad reality is that FOMO just kind of works. It worked on me for a long time, and the only reason it stopped working was that, being honest, I got a life. So that's why FOMO stopped. But looking back, I just can't help but feel like, dude, why did I waste all that time? Why did I do that? Why did I let the FOMO win? But at the time, right, when you're thinking like, oh my god, well, this new Pokemon just came out, Morpeko just came out, I gotta get it. And you don't think anything of it. But now, I'm like, dude, I didn't need a fucking Morpeko. I could have just even gotten one and that would have been it. Why did I need to get like fucking 10 of them? Why was I trying so hard to get so many of these fucking things? So that's ultimately what I'm trying to say here. FOMO is bad. I wish companies would stop doing it. They're obviously not going to. But additionally, I can't help but just be glad that at least I've gotten out of the FOMO. And I'm not fully there yet with like everything. Like, for example, I think there's a lot of like stuff where like, I try to stay in the loop on like YouTube or stuff or whatever, right? Like I'm watching like, Charlie videos or something. But I think I can, still improve, but at least I'm no longer like, fuck, dude, I gotta go get an earthworm. Because it's just pointless, man. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it for today. I'm going to go in the house so I can go enjoy the rest of my night. And, wow, holy shit, that was long. What the hell? But yeah, FOMO is bad. I guess that's it.